In this episode, we'll do a quick review of the Audio-Technica AT899 lavalier microphone and compare it to some other less expensive lavalier microphones. Now, in previous episodes, we've talked about lavalier microphones such as the Audio-Technica ATR3350 and the giant Squid audio labs. Those are both very inexpensive lavalier microphones, and both of them are very good options for getting the microphone closer to your talent and away from the camera. And that alone will improve the quality of your audio for video, but there are some limitations. So in particular, the giant Squid audio labs was surprisingly decent audio quality. The ATR3350 required a fair bit of equalization before you got it sounding, I thought, pretty good. It costs about $200 US, so it's in a completely different league. But the question is it really worth that difference, and under what circumstances would it make most sense to lay down that extra cash? All right, let's run through the things that I think are really great about this mic. First of all, the build quality is top-notch. Everything is very solid, from the battery pack, the microphone itself, the cabling, all of the accessories, everything really top-notch. The mic head itself is very small. They call it sub-miniature. It's very nice if you need to hide it behind, under clothing or in your actor's hair. Any of those types of scenarios, perfect match in this case. There are a ton of accessories that come with this for attaching this to your actors or talent. My favorite is the magnetic connector, because you can put it behind the top layer of clothing or even the second layer of clothing and connect the mic to that. That's very, very handy, but it also includes a standard clip to attach to a lapel, and there's also a Viper clip, which wonder what circumstances you use that, but it is an option as well. It includes a battery pack, so you don't have to drain the battery of your field recorder as quickly, and it takes a very easy to find AA battery. It also includes a high-pass filter for reducing handling noise, which is a really nice feature. It includes an XLR connector for balanced pro cabling to your recorder. Now, most importantly, the sound quality of the Audio-Technica AT99 is fantastic. Sounds very natural to me, even straight into the recording without any modifications. No hyped frequencies, which is very important as well. And we'll see when we get to the comparison a little bit later on why that's important. It's also relatively immune to cable noise when your actor moves. Some other lavalier microphones tend to really pick all that movement up, and the AT899 seems a little bit more forgiving in that front. Now, relative to other lavalier microphones, this provides a balanced XLR input, or output, I should say, from the microphone. So you're moving closer into the professional range when you're using a microphone like this. The great news about that is you can use some really high quality preamplifiers to really make sure they're getting the best sound possible. And what's nice about it too is you can start with one of the less expensive field recorders, like say, for example, the Tascam DR40, and then move up from there if you find later down the road you'd like to improve it beyond that. It also comes with this rich Corinthian vinyl case, which may not be the classiest piece of equipment in the world, but it is very helpful for containing all of these tiny little pieces, especially all these accessories, keeping everything in one place and getting it from one place to the other in safety. Now, there are a few things that are not so great about this microphone. None of them are deal breakers, but I thought I should mention them. First of all, the cable from the mic to the battery pack is super long. It's like 3 meters long. For the Americans here, that's over 9 feet long. It's kind of ridiculous. It's like, why would you need that? Is it for giants or something? But it's not a huge deal. Again, I just used some two-sided Velcro to wind up the extra and then tuck it away somewhere in a pocket. Okay, for some of us hobbyists, the $200 US price tag is going to be a little bit of a downside. But again, this is all in context. So if you're shooting a lot, if you're kind of getting serious about your YouTube channel or video production or whatever you're doing with your videos, this actually may be a worthwhile investment for you. So really kind of depends on what you're doing. Now with this mic, one downside potentially, I guess if you're looking at it this way, is that you cannot record into less expensive field recorders like the Zoom H1 or the Tascam field recorders that don't have XLR inputs. So anything without an XLR input is out of bounds for this microphone. I don't see that as a deal breaker. If you're looking at a mid-range microphone like this, you really need to be looking at mid-range to high-range recorders or preamplifiers as well. Now let's run through a comparison with some of these other mics we've mentioned. We're gonna go and look at some entry-level mics and then on up to this mid-range mic, the AT899. Now, keep in mind this is not a perfect comparison. The difference with the first two mics we're going to look at is that they go into a recorder. We're going to go into the Zoom H1. They do not have balanced outputs, so we couldn't record into the same recorder. Typically with the balanced output, I'm using the Tascam DR100 Mark II, but at least this will give you a sense for to some degree what the difference is between these entry-level mics and the mid-level mics. This is the Giant Squid Audio Labs omnidirectional mic. It is a fantastic mic for the money. It costs about $40 US if you can get your hands on one. That's the trick. These are made by a fellow, handmade by a fellow in the Midwest United States. The latest reports, and this is May 2013, we are hearing it's taking 6 weeks, in some cases longer than that, to get their microphones for people that are placing orders. So it's a tough one to get at this point. It's ugly looking, to be honest. When I first pulled it out of the package, I thought, is this thing even going to work? But the sound it produces is actually quite impressive. So it can be a good buy. This is the Audio-Technica AT899. This is the least expensive of the microphones we're comparing here today. This one comes in at about $25 US. It is also an omnidirectional microphone. It includes a battery pack, and that battery pack takes a battery that's fairly obscure, something that you can order online definitely, or at a place that carries watch-style batteries. But it can be difficult to find those batteries, so if you're in a real pinch and you need one right away, it can be a bit of a problem to find one. Also, the cable that it comes with is very long, and it can be a bit of a nuisance. I've had issues with it getting caught on things and people tripping over them and things of that nature, but if you're careful, it can work fine. It is a very good microphone in terms of getting, compared to the microphone that's built into your camera, because you can get it closer to your talent. So that's its one redeeming factor from my point of view. Can be useful, not my favorite, requires a fair bit of EQ, I think, to get it sounding decent. But again, if you're on a tight budget, could be a great option for you. Now in this case, I'm using the Audio-Technica Pro 70 lavalier microphone, which is about a $100 US microphone. This one's unique for lavaliers in that it has a cardioid pickup pattern. And a cardioid pickup pattern is much more directional. Most lavs have an omnidirectional pickup pattern. So this one's sort of special purpose. It's designed for cases where you're working in a very noisy environment, or if you want to mic instruments where you actually clip this to the instrument itself. You can tell by the sound that it's producing. Again, in these comparisons, we didn't do any sort of EQ. We just brought the raw signal in and brought the levels up. We normalized the levels and left it at that. So you can see this one has a very unique sound to it. It is much more, it has different frequency, the different frequencies, it gives a different level of response. So it doesn't sound awesome for dialogue as far as I'm concerned. And finally, we have the Audio-Technica AT899, which comes in at $200 US. It is a great recorder. I really like it. It has become my go-to lavalier microphone. I don't always use lavs, but when I do, this is typically the one I'll grab unless I have some other very specialized requirements. It's a great microphone if you are going to be recording with a mid to high-end preamplifier or field recorder. It is, again, somewhat more immune to cable movement and movement of your actor than other lavalier microphones. And I think if you're going to be doing a fair bit of recording using lav mics, this is really a great option for you. So my final assessment is that this is a great microphone under certain circumstances. If you're getting a little bit more serious about your video and audio production, this could be a really good deal for you. It's, again, $200 US is a pretty good price point for someone who's getting a little bit more into this, wants something that's a little bit more rugged and will last longer, can withstand the rigors of the road a little bit better, so to speak. And that is a little bit more immune to the noise of a moving actor. And you're either making money from your video or you're getting a little bit more serious about what it is you're producing. All right, so that's a quick overview of the Audio-Technica AT899. I hope you found that helpful. If there were questions we didn't get to, go ahead and hit us with those down in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that, and we'll get you more videos with great information on audio and lighting for your video. And we'll talk to you again soon.